What if the cheapest model of August 2026 was also one of the best at coding? Google just shipped Gemini 3.7 Flash, half the price. 16 points higher on real engineering benchmarks. Let's break it down.
Gemini 3.7 Flash is Google DeepMind's newest workhorse model. It launched on August 13, 2026, just 3 weeks after Gemini 3.6 Flash. It sits in the Flash tier, Google's speed and cost tier below Gemini Pro. But do not let the tier fool you.
Google built this model for coding and agents, and on several engineering benchmarks, it now competes with models that cost 3 times more.
Here's the spec sheet. A 1 million token context window, enough to hold an entire codebase. 65,000 tokens of output. It reads text, images, audio, video, and PDFs. And it supports tool use, structured outputs, streaming, and prompt caching. Big change is thinking levels.
Low, medium, and high. Replace the old thinking budget parameter, so you control how much reasoning each request gets. Google says the gains came from algorithmic improvements, not a bigger model. Same context, same limits, smarter training.
Now the numbers, because the numbers are the story. Google reports 5 benchmarks. On FrontierCode, hard real-world coding, it scores 43.6%, up 9 points from version 3.6. On DeepSWE, real software fixes across 91 GitHub repositories, it hits 65.3%, up 16 points.
On WebDev Arena, human-rated web development, it reaches an ELO of 1588. On GDP.pdf, long document comprehension, 34% up 12 points, and on Automation Bench, multi-step agent tasks, 30.4% up 13 points. Add Terminal Bench, 85.8%.
5 benchmarks, 5 big jumps in 3 weeks.
The DeepSWE score deserves a closer look. 49% jump to 65.3. This benchmark pulls real GitHub issues from 91 repositories in 5 languages, and it is designed to resist training contamination. The problems are not in the training data, so the model has to actually solve them.
That 16-point jump is the single biggest gain in this release. And the only independent third-party test we have, run by Cognition, puts 3.7 Flash neck and neck with Claude Sonnet 5 on coding. 56.3 versus 56.2.
Now the money. Google's introductory price is 75 cents per million input tokens and $3.75 per million output tokens through the end of 2026. Cache reads cost just 7.5 cents per million tokens. On OpenRouter, it is even cheaper. 37.5 cents in, $1.87 out. Do the math on a typical call, 1,000 tokens in, 500 out, and you get about 380 calls for $1. For agent steps, about 53 calls per dollar. But here is the catch. On January 1st, 2027, the price doubles. $1.50 in, $7.50 out. Plan for that cliff.
Stack it against the competition. Claude Sonnet 5 costs $2 in, $10 out. GPT-5.6 Terra costs $2 in, $12 out. Gemini 3.7 Flash is roughly 3 times cheaper than both, while trading blows on coding.
On Automation Bench, it scores 30.4% against Claude's 10.7. On Terminal Bench, 85.8 against 80.4. At real company scale, 1,000 agent calls, that gap becomes $2,300 a year saved against Claude and $2,500 against GPT.
Same job. A fraction of the bill.
But this is not a clean sweep, and the split matters. Gemini wins on coding, on agents, on automation, and on price. Claude Sonnet 5 wins on knowledge work. On GDP val, Claude holds a 1598 ELO against Gemini's 1525.
Chart reasoning on ChartSieve is actually slightly lower than version 3.6, so pick by task shape. Execution-heavy pipelines, Gemini. Knowledge-heavy analysis, Claude.
So who should use it? If you run high-volume coding, multi-step agents, or long context pipelines, this is currently the best closed model value on the market. Optimize with 3 moves. Use the right thinking level per task low for latency, high for hard problems.
Turn on prompt caching to cut input costs by up to 89%. And use the new Interactions API to keep conversation state server-side. If you need flagship intelligence or deep knowledge work, look at Gemini Pro or Claude instead. Flash is a workhorse, not a frontier model.
What do real users say? The verdict so far? Better than expected. On Reddit, one developer put it bluntly. 3.6 Flash behaved like a junior developer. 3.7 actually investigates and fixes properly.
Power users are already stacking it into tiered systems. A big model for planning, Flash for execution.
Gemini 3.7 Flash, half the price. 16 points higher, built to work. Next up, we break down Claude Sonnet 5. Subscribe so you do not miss it.